I started building out a personal website. I wanted to do something kind of house the content I'm doing. I've got my YouTube, I've got my audio podcast, I've got written content that's going on LinkedIn. And I felt like I needed a central location for it. Just to give you a comparison, this is my current website, which is on, I think this is the standard template. I spent so much time setting this up because I created a theme, and obviously I was getting in there and coding the theme and setting up, I think I self-hosted Ghost. I can't remember, but I was just playing with different things, and like, it's a cool template, but like this template is a dope template. I spent an hour and a half on this. It's just crazy how quick it is. And the crazy thing I realized is I actually felt like, I don't know when I started doing websites, it's got to have been more than 10 years ago. In the beginning, you're so excited to create a website. You just enjoy it. And then you become a professional in it, and you're dealing with it day to day, and you're banging your head against a wall to fix a CSS rounded border issue or a float issue for 3 hours. That struggle is what makes you a developer, is going through those challenges and conquering them, coming out the other end. So you have pride in that process, of course, and you enjoy it in the sense that you enjoy a struggle. The idea of creating a website for fun is like, nah, I don't want to do that so much. So for example, one of the things that as a developer you always joke about is like, you always get asked to create a website by friends and family. And it's like, I'm not going to create a people ask you about creating a website as if it's the same as asking for a ride to the airport. And you'd be like, oh yeah, no problem. But they don't realize it's like 40 to 80 hours of blood, sweat, and tears and frustration. You're just like, no, you should check out Squarespace instead. And it's funny, I had this moment where I was creating this and having fun, being able to focus on the fun parts of like creating a cool interface and putting in silly buttons and doing fun little goofy things in the titles and just the fun parts of making a website without the frustration. I was like, I would actually enjoy spending an hour and making a website for a friend, a family member, because it actually was fun, And I was like, wow, I haven't had that feeling in like, it's got to be over 10 years now. So that was really cool. And then also on the topic of Webflow, I realized like, it's crazy how many ads I ignored for Webflow because Phillip Jackson mentioned Webflow. It's funny. I told him yesterday, I was like, dude, I'm mentioning you on every single video and I feel like I'm spamming you, but he's like, nah, it's all good. So he was the one that mentioned Webflow to me on a podcast. I think it was on a Magetalk podcast recently. And that was what made me look at it. Before that, I was like, that sounds familiar. I've seen a lot of ads and I've seen like YouTube ads. I've seen a ton of ads for Webflow and it was like, oh, we make it easy to make a website. And I was like, yeah. I've heard that a million times. WYSIWYG editors, they never actually work. And the thing is, their ads are good. Like I'm going back and looking at a YouTube ad. They're well produced. They're great ads. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I have ignored so many ads for a great product where the ads were really well done and I just was completely blind to them. I think because this category is something that I written off so long ago that I just had no interest in it whatsoever. It's one thing if you ignore an ad because the ad isn't good or the product is not good, but they do an interesting ad for a product that isn't good, but product's great, ad's great, and you see it repeatedly over a period of time and you still ignore it. That's crazy.